All right, welcome to the Black Market Podcast, episode one. I have my awesome and great guest and friends, Mr. Chivalry, or you can call him Chivalry or Shiv, or however you want to pronounce it. I'll let him, construct that. And of course, my great and one of my best friends, Katie the God, or Keontae, you can maybe say, but however he wants to go, we'll let him, set that up as well. But basically, this is episode one. Um, I want to thank you guys for joining me and allowing me to use your minds and your voices to, orchestrate this whole thing. We have a
Oh,
pretty interesting topic, but
appreciate you.
I'm gonna let them talk. Can you guys introduce yourself? Keontae, start it off for me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. My name Keontae. My middle name I go by that. Uh Tag Tamo Facebook, Keontae on Instagram, and yeah, I'm just here for the talk. It's always a good vibe here.
Awesome. And then
Down
Shiv.
here, shit.
Yeah. So MrCh1valry, thanks for having me on, Darius. Really appreciate it.
No problem, bro.
Um, appreciate you thinking of me for your first episode. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Xbox, whatever. All the socials at MrCh1valry. So,
And I'll make
Okay.
sure I tag them all in
hmm
the information section of the video that's gonna go on YouTube. If you're watching this right now, this is live, so we don't have any type of fancy editing or anything like that. This is coming to you raw. And again, I want to appreciate you guys. So the topic of today is we had an interesting topic. Well, not interesting topic, but interesting news. So Xbox bought Blizzard, Activision today. I think that is the most. I don't even know how to explain it. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. At least that
right.
a main, developers, bought that many studios. I think it was already crazy when Xbox bought the Bethesda. I just thought that was insane. I'm like, oh my god, we own Oblivion now, like, and we own
hmm
Skyrim. Like, we're
Hmm.
the guys that everybody's gonna be running to. But now I woke up
Right.
and they went way higher. And if we wanted to know how big their pockets were, I guess we got a sneak peek into that because it looks like the buyout was for $70 billion.
So
Um,
yeah,
Ooh.
I looked it up earlier today. The ZeniMax Bethesda deal was 7.5 billion,
Jesus Christ.
and the Activision Blizzard deal from today is 68.7 billion. So that's
Man.
like almost, let's like say it's like 9 times as much.
Those numbers are insane. Like I thought the Bethesda deal was crazy. I really did. When I saw that number, I was like, damn. I was like, wow, they really got the money. Like the money is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Because I know, like, just to kind of give some insight, I know when Xbox first started, they tried to buy Nintendo, and I think the number that
Right.
was being thrown around for that was like $4 billion. And as we know, most
Right.
Japanese companies, they're like super duper. They're pretty stuck in their ways. They're not gonna sell. Not like a lot of American game
Yeah, I
developers.
believe I believe Nintendo laughed them out of the room.
Yeah, they did. They did, and we all know how that went from there. And so now this one is a little bit more surprising. I think this one is, if we're gonna be on, if I'm honest, I think this one is the better of really any of those deals, even better than Nintendo. And I know you might think I'm crazy for that but we're thinking about like World of Warcraft, like Call of
hmm
Duty. Now they own all of the mainline first-person
Hmm.
shooters. Now there's
Right.
Call of Duty,
It
Halo,
definitely,
and Gears under the
yeah,
same roof.
yeah, it's kind of insane. It definitely was surprising. That was my thought this morning. Um, we heard a lot of, Xbox insiders on Twitter saying there's big acquisitions coming, there's
Yeah, I
big
thought it was a
acquisitions
lie.
coming. I never
Hmm.
believe. I mean, it is a lie. I don't. Those people would have been teasing this if they actually
Mm-hmm.
knew.
Yeah,
Like, so that's. I just never really thought about it, and I thought it was kind of annoying. It's like, well, we just had the Bethesda
like that's good enough.
acquisition.
Exactly.
Yeah, who cares? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Xbox even needs to make another move.
Exactly.
And
Nope.
then they do. So,
And
um,
this one at that, that's kind of like
Hmm.
that's really the that's really kind of my thing is that all the developers that they were talking about before was Sega. I thought Sega was cool, but I was like, okay, they got Sonic. Yeah, I guess that would be nice, but I mean, like, and then I think another name that got thrown out there was 2K, which they're the parent company for Rockstar. I thought that was
Right.
interesting. Now that
That's
one,
kind of what I'm thinking. I think PlayStation's gonna have to make that sort of move next
ooh,
if
oh
they want to
man,
compete.
oh man, this is gonna be.
But we can get to that
Definitely.
later. I want to go back to
Mhm.
you said this is a better deal than Nintendo. I don't know about that. I think Nintendo makes their money
Nintendo
off
holds a lot.
nostalgia. Yeah.
Yeah, they're yeah.
Nintendo do holds a lot, and they got a heavy arsenal of different games
hmm
that they came out with. So yeah, that's like Nintendo is a lot. But Activision, I mean,
Right.
in the is in the running. And Activision, like as amount of the games, the amount of games that I actually think
hmm
that comes to mind
Mhm.
when you speak of Activision. And I didn't know if it correct me if I'm wrong, but the Activision own Blizzard as well.
It is one
And then
company.
they
It's
just
Activision Blizzard.
Right.
okay, Activision Blizzard is
Yeah.
one
It's a
company. Okay,
merged.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because when I think of Blizzard, I think a whole different set of games, and then I think of
Right.
Activision, I think a whole nother set of games.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there just thinking about it, like the amount of games that I played even back in the day when Activision. I know I was asking earlier. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, like did they have like a Spider-Man? But no, he told me it was like it's not really it wasn't Spider-Man wasn't one of them that was under Activision, but I had took a look at them and I'm seeing the old games like Crash Bandicoot,
Right.
Spyro, Tony Hawk
Yep.
Pro Skaters,
That's
all of
kind of what's
those.
crazy about that is, yeah, it's got the entire
Hmm.
Tony Hawk's series, which is actually really exciting for me. But then it's got
Right.
games that I think most people kind of associate to PlayStation, which is
Yeah.
Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, like you were saying. So I think
Exactly.
that's kind of interesting because, like, we talk about Call of Duty and World of Warcraft and all these other ones, but I think kind of the thinking there, because I don't think Call of Duty is going to be exclusive. I don't think anyone should expect it to be exclusive.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I
it's
don't.
That
going
I
to
was
don't
gonna
think
be
be,
so
my
either.
next question.
Yeah, I don't think
yeah, I
so.
think it's gonna be multi-platform.
Mhm.
It's gonna be
Hmm.
fully cross-play.
Right.
It's gonna be day and date Game Pass day one, and the entire back catalog is gonna go to Game Pass. I mean, that's
Now, I
just seems obvious to me. But it's
my
not
thing
gonna.
is
It's gonna stay on PlayStation, and I think the reason behind that is it's a guaranteed moneymaker every single year.
Oh yeah, it's a
mhm.
cash cow. It's a cash cow.
um, so
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of what I'm. And then there's other games like, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, maybe even like Diablo. That's the sort of stuff I think, wow, okay, maybe this is like an Xbox console and PC exclusive moving forward. Who knows? But I think other stuff like Overwatch, Call of Duty, all the multiplayer stuff,
Right.
I don't think it makes any
Exactly. That's what I was
sense.
gonna say right there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that. As far as just like you hit nail on the head. It's like Call of Duty. It's definitely gonna make its money being diverse across the different gaming system and cross platform as well. Versus like if you think about how PlayStation do it, their exclusive games is usually not online. It's like
hmm
RPGs and things like that you actually get a hold of now. Just because you don't play it online, their full experience
Right.
offline is still A1.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the Spider-Man
No, I
and hell.
completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got a
So
question.
I
I have a question.
Go
I
ahead.
yeah.
have a question. This is the opinion I want from you guys. Okay, so I know you probably already seen online Shiv, and I know Kenta, you kind of on and off how much you see online. So we already know that PlayStation is looking to answer the Game Pass, and at this point, I think the only way that they're able to answer Game Pass is by putting their the exclusives that they have now available on it, and any coming exclusives day one on whatever service that they have. Either that or they shouldn't release it. What do you guys think about that?
Hmm. Katie, you want to go first? Yeah, me too.
uh I go first.
Okay.
So the fact that they're exclusive games, I feel like that a lot of times they would kind of I guess it all depends on how much they actually sell that Game Pass for, because I'm
hmm
looking at like their exclusives are usually exclusive and for a while, as far as like and like price high for a while. They
Hmm.
don't usually just come off of those prices because they know the only place that you get it from is PlayStation. You got to have a PlayStation. If you don't got no PlayStation, you can't play this game. I've been wanting to play Spider-Man for the longest, and I'm sitting there
Mhm.
thinking like right now, if I had a PlayStation, I would literally go buy that Spider-Man for
Dude,
full
Spider-Man is
price.
amazing,
Oh my
and it's worth it.
Yeah,
god, it's
I
worth it.
would buy it for full price
But you
because
couldn't
that's
get the Game of the
exactly how I
Year.
feel.
Hmm.
I would get the Game of the Year edition for PS4. That one's good.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
it's
now
amazing.
I heard that I know that the past some of the gaming years they throw it on sale. I'm not I'm not really a PlayStation guy, so on the exclusives like that, do they really actually sell them for a lesser price after they've been out for a while, or do they can kind of hold their value?
I think they definitely do go on sale because I've been playing on PlayStation for a little over a year now. I
Right.
definitely
Uh
been
huh.
an Xbox guy my whole life, but I have like a priority list of all the exclusives I want to play. So anytime
Right.
there's a holiday sale or Black Friday sale, that's when I'm kind of checking out to see, oh, okay, how much is Detroit now? And I finally bought Detroit
Yep.
like the last
Same.
sale, the
Okay.
Detroit Become Human. So they do that. Nintendo, I think, is what you're thinking of, where they don't ever drop the
Yeah,
price.
Yeah, ever,
That's
that's
kind of
true
what I
for
was
a
gonna say
fact.
earlier too
ever.
about
Yeah.
Nintendo is like um, they can sell the same game over and over at full price
Hmm.
for
And
years,
I'm the
and
dummy
that's
that's
kind
gonna
of
buy
why.
it. Ocarina
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Time.
But here's the thing, they're all bangers. It's like
Yeah,
Disney.
yeah.
Disney has this crazy nostalgia where they can sell us the same thing over and over again, and everyone is like, yeah, I love this. Um, but to go back to your point, Darius, I think you're right that they have, you know, Xbox is making big moves, right? Because we were so down bad like the last gen. So I
Mhm.
think they're definitely coming out swinging.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like, definitely PlayStation's gonna do something, right? And they should do something. Competition is good for any industry.
Right.
But I also don't want to like act like this is some killing blow to PlayStation because PlayStation has, three Game of the Year contenders every single year.
Hmm.
And I mean, they make some of the best games in the industry.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're overpriced, whether or not they don't have a streaming service like Game Pass, Game Pass has amazing value, and
That's
I
true.
absolutely love Game Pass. And they should come out with a subscription service like that's better than PS Now, because I
Right.
don't really like the structure
It's
of PS Now.
terrible.
But honestly, I could see them structuring it more like a movie release. So like,
Mm.
because it is
Okay.
Sony. I mean, Sony makes movies, right?
Right.
So it comes out, it costs $70. Buy it, you pre-order it, or you buy it day one, right? That's like a movie coming out in theaters.
Right.
They're not going to put it on their subscription service right away.
Right.
I don't think they would want to do that.
Right.
So it
Right.
comes out in theaters, and then it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K, and then it's,
Boom.
digital on demand, and then
Right.
it's rent on demand, and then it goes to streaming services. I think if they do make something like Game Pass, I don't think they're going to put anything day and date. I think it's going to still be, we want you to buy it first,
Mhm.
and then we'll throw it on there.
Which would make sense for the exclusives,
Which,
definitely.
and that's the thing though, is like, they make such good games that I think that strategy could work. Just like Nintendo's strategy of, we're going to repackage the same game and sell it to you again, because our
Hmm.
games are so good. And Xbox, I do love their strategy too, though, because they know that they can't contend when it comes to certain games like Spider-Man, God of War. Like, these third-person action adventure games are just next level amazing.
Right.
So the value that Xbox provides is you get every single Xbox first-party game, day and date, and all the back catalog. Like, that is a tremendous value for
Yeah.
anybody that plays video games. Anybody. Plus, you get all these third-party stuff too. It's like Netflix. You get all the Netflix originals, day one, and then you get all these other games that rotate in and out. So I think similar to just like the companies themselves and
Mhm.
the platforms themselves, they all offer something very different,
I agree.
right? So I don't think they need to do the same thing as each other, and that's kind of what I think Phil Spencer said it a couple years ago, where someone was asking like, "Oh, are you gonna like copy PlayStation's playbook?" And he's like, "No,
We're
like I
gonna
don't
make our
need."
own. Right. We don't need
Yeah,
to.
we don't need to be doing the same thing. Like, nobody needs to be doing the same thing as each other. Because honestly, once you start doing the same thing, it's like what is
The
the point in using the other platform?
exactly
Right.
Like, it's good to provide, a
parody.
diverse. Yeah, exactly. It's good to provide a diverse like playbook, but it's also good to have your niche. And I think Xbox with this acquisition has really cornered the market on their niche, which is first-person shooters and Western RPGs,
Yep,
right?
can
So
agree.
Yeah,
with
okay.
so I think that's their niche. And PlayStation, they've got a great relationship with Japan, so they've got the JRPG market,
Yeah.
and they've also cornered the market on third-person action adventure games. Like you cannot deny, you can't deny
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah,
They provide cinematic experiences that you're gonna get almost nowhere else.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's
I
like
think
reading a
that's just
book.
kind of the
Hmm.
difference between the two platforms in general. It's like, yeah, they're gonna answer to each other, but they're never gonna be doing the same thing,
Yeah,
and they don't want to do the same thing.
yeah.
They kind of recognize their strengths, they recognize their competitors' strengths, but I also think I know I'm talking for like 10
No, you're
minutes straight
fine.
here, so
You're fine.
I just have a
No,
lot of thoughts on this
I love the
clearly.
points.
Um, but I also think we should look at a bigger picture, like Sony versus Microsoft in terms of size of the company, right? So Microsoft just proved that they're a gigantic company.
Yeah,
They just
that
spent
we can
$70
get
Yeah.
billion
bigger.
dollars, right? And we can just throw this money at it because we don't even care. Like we can not make a profit for a couple of years because we have the backing of a gigantic corporate tech conglomerate,
Exactly. That's been
Microsoft.
around since the beginning, and they have their push. Okay, so
Right.
really quick, this is another thing. So those are a lot of good pros. My thing is the cons to the situation. So I'm a
Mhm.
big. I don't know about you. I've seen a little bit of your collection, but I'm big into collecting physical games. Like that's if I love a game, I will go buy it physically. No ifs, ands, or buts. Even if I have
For
it
sure.
digitally, I will go buy it physically. Now with all of these titles coming to Game Pass, and I believe a lot of mainline titles are going to come day one. Now my
Mhm.
concern is like how like I don't know if you know this, and please answer it if you do. Like how are they? I know that Xbox putting their titles, especially like the bigger first party titles like Forza and Halo, on Game Pass day one, and even making Halo's multiplayer for free, just in general. It doesn't really hurt them because the more people that play those titles, the better. They're all multiplayer titles, but like some of these other titles that's going to be coming over from Activision, like how are they going to be making their money back? Is it going to be concurrent players that's going to be playing the game? Are they going to get their money that way? How do you necessarily prove that these titles are going to be pulling in the money that Game Pass is going to need to keep it at least at a decent price? Like I know for
Mhm.
sure this is probably going to cause a rise. I think everybody should be prepared for that in some way, shape, or form. Because now the ground that Game Pass has covered is pretty much complete. I mean, outside of whatever Sony and Nintendo has to offer, they're gonna offer you everything else in the middle.
Right.
Out the gate. Without you even having to buy or commit to buying a title. But with that being said, because Microsoft's gonna have to make that money back in some way, shape, or form, they could take a loss for a year or two, but like microtransactions over that time, I'm thinking are probably gonna become a thing. And not buying the game at full prices, are we gonna get exclusive titles that are gonna get sequels? Maybe first generation titles. Of course, Call of Duty is gonna have their audience. Certain things are just gonna people are gonna buy no matter what. And Call of Duty is a cash cow that people have proven and are going to buy pretty much no matter what. But these other titles, how do you prove the revenue was good enough? If people just downloaded the game, paid for Game Pass, and then that was it. Unless they raise the price for it or microtransactions become a bigger thing than they already are. God forbid. I hope that doesn't happen. But I'm just thinking of like the repercussions from some of these studios making titles, and how do you prove that that title was successful if a lot of your base is not buying it? Because Game Pass is offered really on everything at this point, outside of just not having it on your TV. If you have a phone in your hand, you have access to it. If you have an Xbox, you have access to it. If you have a computer, you have access to it. So, like, what are your thoughts on that? Hello.
So you go ahead and go first, Shiv, if you don't.
Right. So you did ask a lot of different questions there. So, um, first off, I agree with you. Um, I definitely enjoy having like a physical copy of games. I pre-ordered Halo, even though I've got Game Pass Ultimate. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I would have gotten it day one. I pre-ordered Halo just because I really wanted to support those devs as much as possible.
Right.
Because I played the tech preview, so I thought, you know, they really are delivering on this Halo game so
Right.
far, and I
Hmm.
hope the campaign's that good too, and I think it is. I think it's very worthy
Oh
successor
yeah.
and probably the best 343 Halo game there is.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
there's plenty of things that I do like to get physically, even if they're on Game Pass. But I'm not gonna lie and say that I buy every game that I play on Game Pass. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's kind of the perk for me personally, because that is something I know you're talking about the larger, like how do we make sure that they get paid and all this, but I think a big important thing is like how does this affect the players too?
Mm-hmm.
Where, you know, I have Game Pass. So I ultimately benefit from whatever's going to happen. I'm going to have more access to these games. I don't necessarily have to buy them every single game anymore. I mean, for me, I played every Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2.
Right.
And recently, I've decided to stop buying them
Yeah.
because
It's pretty much
I
the same.
felt they need to, you know, they're coming out every single year, and Cold War really disappointed me
Mm-hmm.
um, compared to Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And I haven't bought Vanguard's the first Call of Duty I haven't played since COD 2. So for me personally, this is actually really exciting to have Call of Duty going to Game Pass because, you know, I didn't plan to buy this in the future.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like you have your players that are going to play every single time. They're going to
Hmm.
purchase it. That money goes to Xbox because Xbox owns the game now.
Right.
Even if it's on PlayStation or PC, Steam, Epic Games, whatever platform it's on, Xbox and Microsoft get that money, and that money goes back into Game Pass, supporting the devs that way, right?
Okay.
So, you know, Game Pass pays the devs directly. There's a separate deal for every single one. That's what Phil Spencer likes to say. Like, every single deal we have is different and, you know, unique to the situation. Okay, well, these are first party games now, so they're going to get more support than third party games, right?
Right.
So, people are still going to buy Call of Duty every single year. That money is going to go to Xbox because they own it. And people are going to subscribe to Game Pass specifically for Call of Duty.
Right.
Even if they don't want to play Diablo, they don't want to play Crash Bandicoot, they don't want to play Spyro or Tony Hawk's or whatever, they will see the value in getting Game Pass, and they will subscribe to Game Pass.
And that's
So, I
good.
mean, right, and that's kind of the beauty of having the subscription service
Mm-hmm.
is that all the money is pooled and it can be divvied out accordingly.
Right.
Like that's kind of why I think it is interesting and kind of like an ingenious idea, and it's really funny when people on Twitter say, "Oh, but support the devs." Like, what do you think this is?
Yeah. This is how you
Like,
do it.
like this
Right.
is like the most genius way possible to support the devs. People are still gonna buy the game. The game's not unavailable to purchase.
Exactly.
It's still available to purchase digitally. It's still available to
Hmm.
purchase physically most times. And
This
also,
is.
go ahead, Kitty.
I was just about to say it's a lot easier to access as
Hmm.
well. It's just like you're not jumping through hoops to try to make sure you got the funds and want to access that one game and then want to go back and turn around and buy another game,
Right.
but you can't. So you have access to all
Hmm.
these games, and they get it's just like in the music industry, you're gonna get paid for spins.
Right.
So they download the game and they playing that game, they're gonna get that portion
Right.
of that game pass being paid by these multiple people.
And if
So
anything,
it's
yeah, and if anything, that just tells Xbox, hey, someone's playing this game.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? And that's just like, okay, well, let's put 1% more attention towards that game because more people are playing it. Like, they can see who's playing what game, how many games are getting played. I mean, they're
Hmm.
not dumb. Like, they know what they're doing,
These
which
numbers.
is,
Right.
which I do find funny. But also on your point, I think the package deal of what's been purchased here is really interesting too for
Mm-hmm.
me because, you know, they've been trying to push into PC and mobile, you know,
Hmm.
streaming is part of their ecosystem now,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I think especially with World of
Oh
Warcraft
my God! I knew you were gonna get there.
and Candy
Hmm.
Crush,
I knew you
is
were
the
gonna
other
get
one I
there.
want to talk about.
Yep.
World of Warcraft and Candy Crush, I think, are very interesting parts of this
Yeah.
because they're clearly trying to push into those markets. Like my wife said to me when I told her about this, because I showed her, I was like, Xbox owns Candy Crush now, and she was like, "Are they gonna take it off of mobile?" She's really into mobile.
Uh-huh.
She loves to play on her phone, and I was like, "No, babe, they're gonna put it on every single platform they can
Oh
possibly
yeah.
put it on.
Even your
It's like
Right.
TV.
mine.
Just get ready
Yeah,
for it.
exactly. It's like Minecraft.
Yeah.
You don't take that off of
Hmm.
PlayStation. You put that on every device that will play it. I got Minecraft on my Amazon Fire tablet, and it cost me $15, and I played it one time. And you know what? That money goes back to Xbox, and they know that.
Yeah.
So that also goes back to my point of Call of Duty is like that's not. It's gonna be multi-plat. But that's my point too. Is each and every piece of this bundle does entice some fan somewhere,
Somewhere.
and it adds value.
Yeah.
Every single part of this adds value. So I think inherent in that, like you were saying, I think they probably will raise the price of Game Pass Ultimate, and I think we should be okay with it,
Oh
honestly,
yeah.
because
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
it's
Especially
part of it.
someone
I
like
mean,
me.
they
Yeah.
need to get paid, and we're getting so much value out of this. We're getting Bethesda games day and date. We're getting Starfield day and date. We're getting Call of Duty probably day. I mean, we're assuming all of this for people watching in the future. This is all assumptions, but I'm pretty certain that first party games are going to come day and date.
Yeah.
That's the promise we've
Yeah, day one.
gotten
I'm almost guaranteed
years.
that too.
And we just got what, 8? Xbox just got 8 more publishers or devs. So or studios, whatever you want to call it. So I mean it's exciting, and I think everything is a good thing when it comes to paying these devs.
Yeah.
I think it's all going towards it. Everything. Every piece of the pie is contributing towards it, especially because it is a subscription service now.
Yeah.
They're not paying just for Call of Duty or just for Diablo. All this money is getting paid for all those games towards the subscription service. And then Xbox is using their brains and divvying it out the way it needs to be divvied out. So
Man, they cashed in on a. Oh my goodness, and you want to know? It's so interesting because I still to this day I just don't believe that this would have happened a few days ago. I mean, not a few days ago, but some months ago before this big scandal came out. I just don't believe that this deal would have been even like close to possible if that didn't happen. But I think like the brand and the name got hit so hard, and that it just was like, okay, if we do this, this will at least put our name. This will put our name back out there in a better light, because now these games are gonna be going somewhere. I think Phil Spencer. I think he's like awesome because he can kind of navigate this whole thing. He's big about gamers. Everybody that has anything to say about the guy has been pretty much amazing. I mean, as long as you're not just being a blatant hater, anywhere, we've heard nothing but good things. So it's no reason for me not to believe like the workforce is going to be, changed for Blizzard, Activision. I think it's just gonna be interesting. Now my biggest thing here is I want a few things to happen, but this is like just a pipe dream of a wish. And I'm gonna ask you both what you hope to see from this. But what I would hope to see from it is more or less like what I'm hoping to see from it is, I'm almost sure it's inevitable at this point that the price is going to increase somewhere, but I do believe there's going to become more Game Pass tiers. I think to combat that, they're going to introduce some more tiers of Game Pass to this whole thing. It's going to be one that's going to, give you like the first party Xbox Studios. If you want those, then this is going to it's probably going to be set at the same price that it's at right now. And then if you want this, then pay for this, and if you want that, here, then you're gonna have the ultimate, and the ultimate's gonna be just this holy grail of content that we're never gonna play all the way through because we're hoarders. We just buy the game but never play through it. But my second thing is like I want a huge mashup first-person shooter. I want all of these FPS studios to get together and make something grand, like Activision, 343. And what is it, Playground? Or no, is it Epic Game Studios? Or is it Playground that makes Gears of War? I can't remember. I want to say it's
That's the
Epic.
coalition.
Okay, yeah. So I want
Epic
all of
Games
them.
used to make them, but Epic does their own thing now. They make Fortnite.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I don't know how in the hell do you go from Gears of War to Fortnite, but that's another topic for another day. But
Well, they focus on Unreal Engine at this point.
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And
there
they
you
have
go.
their own
Okay.
platform, so
There you go. There you go.
that's their whole thing.
I'm hoping we get a mashup game. I hope we get some spin-off of like some ultimate FPS shooter. I don't know what it's gonna be. You know, even if you take some of those studios and you take some of their employees that may be ambitious about Halo, put them in 343 and let them come up with even more greater content for this already good game that I just know like it's already in its early stages. This is probably going to be the greatest Halo game of all time. If we give it that time and the chance, I'm pretty sure it'll get its way there. And
Yeah.
then I guess kind of like my last thing is, maybe Xbox uses these games and these studios to maybe negotiate something with Sony to get them to play a little nicer with this. Like, I don't know what the master plan is, but I'm almost certain, like, if Xbox is putting it out the way that they're putting it out to where this whole console war thing is dead to us, then in some way, shape, or form, at that point you're just trying to get it opened up. I believe something else is going to happen with Nintendo in the future. Like, we've already given them Cuphead. They have already been able to borrow some of Rare's intellectual property, which Xbox owns.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
There you go. Like, little things here and there. It's like it's in the water kind of with Nintendo. Like, I won't be surprised if Game Pass ends up on the Switch at some point. Like, I think that's something that'll be great, but ultimately I'm hoping something happens with Nintendo and PlayStation. Like, stop being so closed off to crossplay. Like, give us something, we'll give you something along those lines, because at the end of the day, Call of Duty is best sold on PlayStation, and it is a huge IP. And if they really wanted to shake something up, they could be like, okay, this is exclusive now. You can't have it. I don't think it'll happen, but that's what I'm hoping to kind of get from it, is a negotiation in some way, shape, or form comes, because they're getting, they got Deathloop from us, so and that game sold, as far as I know,
Well, that was
extremely
more.
well.
That was
Already put in place.
a deal already set in place.
Right.
But to go back to one of your earlier points, you were saying tiers for Game Pass. I think they could also do, like, how EA Play is a separate add-on. I think that's something they could also might do instead of tiers. Yeah, where you still have the Game Pass Ultimate, and there's stuff that could be added on. But that could be harder to do since these are first-party games and EA Play's not first-party. But I think that's also something that could happen.
Yeah, we're keeping EA's lights on too as well. Like, you want to talk about money in the bank? We took EA Play, that became a part of Game Pass forever ago. If you're listening, and then Ubisoft, that was the most recent one. That's insane. Like, we are in the first month of this year, and in the first month of this year, they've already struck a deal with Ubisoft, and now all the Hitman games are gonna be on Game Pass. And then on top of that, we've struck a deal and bought Activision Blizzard. Like, I can't fathom like how this could get any better outside of this year. But it's almost like they're like, okay, holiday is up. We saw that our numbers are good against your numbers. Now we're gonna ramp up and then see how far we can really take this. At this point, like, if you have $300, they're gonna drop. Another thing is they're gonna drop that Series S price, and when they do that, it's gonna be really dangerous, because like it's hard to think of. Like, I think about the kid me when I was a little kid, and like how it took everything in me to get a game out of my parents, and now these kids, as long as you give them $10 a month or $14.99, they have access to hundreds of games, and parents don't really have to buy video games like they used to anymore. And like, I just think that's good for everybody in that case. But what are your dreams coming from
Agreed.
this whole thing that we're kind of already seeing take form this year?
I think ultimately, like, sorry, I had a thought.
I went too long.
You were talking about how PlayStation's like gotta give a little bit, Nintendo's gonna give in terms of like exclusivity, or just like
borrowing
relations
intellectual.
between
Yeah,
yeah,
just
relations
creating
between.
a
I
thing
think
going.
with Xbox owning so much IP now, and I'm assuming a lot of it's going to be multi-platform, like Call of Duty, Overwatch, like you were saying, is a huge Call of
Yeah, I
Duty is a
keep
huge
forgetting
IP,
about
especially on
Overwatch.
PlayStation.
Oh my god.
But I think there's going to be, it's almost going to be like they're going to have to start treating each other like publishers. Like,
Hmm.
hey, can we get this game on our platform? Sure, here's the deal, sign the deal, blah blah blah. You get this much money from it. It's our first party
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty, so we get the most of the money, but you guys are still gonna make a profit because you're
Right.
selling it on your platform. I think that's kind of hopefully the way it moves forward because I'm very anti-console war. Like me.
Oh yeah, me too.
Um, the corporate
100%.
war
Yep.
has nothing to do with us, honestly,
It is only
unless
hurt
you have
us.
stock. Unless you have stock in Microsoft, which I do have a little bit, but that's besides the point. Unless you actually have like real stock in PlayStation or Sony or Nintendo or anything, it has absolutely nothing to do with us,
Right.
right?
Right.
The only thing that I care about out of this whole deal personally is, I mean, I already mentioned the Call of Duty stuff, but I would like to know that my preferred platform is doing well and will continue to be a platform that I can game on in the future.
Right.
That's all I really care about. I'd say, and I want to focus more on the player. So that's why I hope that this leads towards the companies having better relationship. Honestly, it's like, hey, I own Call of Duty now, but that's your best seller.
Yeah.
So, like, come to the table and let's talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let's talk this through. Like, because I don't want to be enemies, and we're not enemies. Like Phil Spencer said that himself. Like, he doesn't give the console war a second thought. Of course, he's running his business, and of course, he has rivals, but he doesn't like hate them the way some ponies on Twitter hate Xbots or
Oh yeah.
Xbots on Twitter hate ponies.
Yeah. They're
That's just
hating
the
this.
dumbest shit. So
Right.
Exact. I
that's
agree. I agree.
that's my hopes moving forward from this deal. I know PlayStation's gonna fire back with something, but I don't think everything. If we are gonna start conglomerating everything together and consolidating stuff, okay, great. Let it be your first party IP, but let's have some sort of communication going on too,
Mm-hmm.
where
Hmm.
you know, let's. I just hope that it makes the relationship better between these two corporate entities, which doesn't matter in the end, but hopefully, they get some games on their platform. Maybe we get some of their games on our platform. It doesn't have to be this,
This
we're
battle.
selling or we're buying everything. Yeah, a battle of who can buy the most studios and they make them exclusive.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
Right.
I think moving forward, hopefully like 10, 15 years from now or something, like PS7 and Xbox Series XL, whatever.
Right.
Hopefully by that point they're just treating each other, you know, like publishers
Yeah.
at that point because that's what they're gonna be. They're gonna own so much IP and they're gonna own so many different unique things that the other one wants on their platform. And I think Xbox has already done great at this. Here, you can have Minecraft on Amazon Fire Tablet. Here, Nintendo, you can have Ori on your, platform. And I think they recognize things that should be multi-platform, and I think they can recognize things that should be exclusive.
I agree.
Things that have a legacy like Halo, Forza. Um, but I think that's where Xbox is smart in this regard. And PlayStation is still kind of rigid on stuff like that. They
Mm-hmm.
charge devs to make things crossplay. Borderlands 3 was a big example of that.
Yeah. That. Yeah.
So
That's what
that's
I'm
my
hoping
hope.
stops. That's what I'm.
That's my
hoping
hope
stops.
moving forward is that they just start to recognize this is the way that this is
Right.
going, and we
The
should
norm.
accept it and move on with it.
Show me the
That
way.
exactly. And I see Josh Taylor's in the chat on the stream. So what's up, Josh?
Josh, thank you for being my first follower. You are the. You don't know how much that means to me.
But KD, what are you hoping for moving forward? What do you think? What do you hope this changes?
So honestly, it was like I am one of those people who's like I'm like on team Microsoft and everything, team Xbox. It was like I don't disregard because I respect it's sort of like the whole NBA and everything. You got that player like you want your team to win, but you got that player that's not on your team that you respect they game to the fullest, so you don't got no choice but to cheer for him and everything. That's like
Right.
Darius and James Harden.
Right.
So
Hmm.
he's like, he ain't in Houston no more, but you still gonna cheer for him because that's your man's and everything. Like you
Exactly.
like him.
Completely agree.
So with me and PlayStation, it's like, and that's one of the reasons I keep on bringing up Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is a great game,
Hmm.
and they did well with it. It was like they doing well with it, being on PlayStation, and that would make me want to go ahead and buy a PlayStation. So I would want to see like more things come on to Xbox. They kind of share paths instead of actually trying to create two different paths. And honestly, they doing a lot of the same thing. So usually once you see one of them do it, it's like the whole Android and Apple as well. Usually once you see one of them do it, the other one not falling too far behind from doing the same thing. For the longest, I think it was for the longest, I forgot which one started it first. I want to say Xbox started it first with actually making you pay to play online,
Yeah.
and then PlayStation eventually jumped on board as well, because I mean it makes sense though, because it help you keep up the server maintenance, help everything run smoothly. You get to actually, put more work into what you're building for your gaming community,
Right.
versus just having it free and everything, and actually just running everything at the cost of the actual company. It was like let everybody, kind of chip in, and we build something even bigger. And with that being said, with this change that they actually just made, I'm hoping to see a lot more exclusive games that could meet the competition of PlayStation exclusive games, because PlayStation has done well in that atmosphere, and I would like to see Xbox do good, not just like have everything exclusive,
Uh
but
huh.
to have like certain series they went through. Like I was just looking up the Activision again. I was just looking up all of the games. They got this one game that I already just researched too, that looks like that they're not gonna end up continuing, or that may be the same now. I'm not sure what they decide to see do in the near future. But this game called I want to say it's Sekiro,
Sekiro.
Sekiro.
Sekiro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a Bloodborne, or it's like a Soulsborne game.
Uh huh.
Uh-huh. So I feel like just the way off the looks of that game, that could be one of, like, that type of the gaming could be an exclusive for Xbox.
Hmm.
And they might
Yeah.
can actually have some runs depending on how well they do with it. And just, that kind of like road I would want to see. I understand that Xbox and the main atmosphere of the Xbox is multiplayer, and I love it. Like, I never complained about Xbox since I've been on Xbox. I used to be on Sony all the way to, I think, PlayStation 3. I opted out and went to Xbox, and from that point on, I just been on Xbox, because a lot of times when I play Xbox, I'm playing with others, and I just liked how their servers was running from day one.
Right.
So that's why I'm here, and they never gave me a problem since then.
Yep.
So it was like I never really went back, but not to say that I won't go without playing the PlayStation. That's like just another to put Apple Samsung back into it. I used to always be an Android person. Now I
Hmm.
own both of them. I own Apple
Right.
and Android, and I use them both.
I think
So I
you
use them
made
both the
a.
same day.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No
But
problem.
I think you made a really good comparison with like NBA players. So
Hmm.
I was at an NBA game recently, and someone behind me kept yelling at, um, oh God, who was it? It was Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, okay.
Kept
Okay.
screaming at Donovan Mitchell, and he's like, "You're bad at your job. You're bad at your job." He kept saying like the same thing over and over. It was so. It made me. I was so mad. I was like, why are you like ribbing him like that? Like he's one of the best players in the entire. Like I'd
In the
love to
league.
see.
Right.
I'd love to see you go out there and play against this man.
Yeah. No.
Because
And
That's
do
what
what
any
he
happened.
NBA
does.
player, even the one sitting on the bench right now, will kick your ass.
Easy.
So,
Uh-huh.
but that's kind of my point too, though, when it comes to like these console wars, and every single person on the planet has a preference, and there's actually like a psychological term for it. It's like, you know, not confirmation bias, but there's something like that where you want your purchase to have meaning, so you try and put down the other people's purchase. I
Right.
think that is like the biggest impetus behind console wars is just like people having that weird feeling. But I think
Hmm.
you have to just look over and respect the other side. It's not your preference, great. Okay, but like PlayStation makes some of the best games in the world, like just like you were saying. It's just like, okay, I have my NBA team, but Donovan Mitchell comes to my court and plays, and so what, they
Sells
lose, but he's
sells
still one of
money.
the best
Right.
players on the court.
People gonna come.
Right.
People gonna come
I
pay to
enjoy
watch
looking at
him
the other team.
play. Right.
So,
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
and
That's
then
what it
same
is.
with Apple, Android. I mean, I've been on Android since the S4, Galaxy S4, and I was on Apple before that. My wife is, she works at a phone store, and she's like super, super, super. She's a manager at Verizon,
Mhm.
and she's super into Apple, right? And she
Hmm.
gets so incensed with me that I won't switch to Apple.
Oh
But if
man.
from my perspective, I'm like, I just prefer Android.
Yeah.
I don't hate Apple. I had
Hmm.
Apple. I had an iPhone 4.
Yep.
And you know what? I switched and I liked it more and I didn't go back. And that's the end of that story.
Yep.
And now I have a better camera than you and I have a better screen than
There you
you.
go.
But I don't hate your product. But then she acts like I'm hating, which I'm not.
Yeah.
I just have a preference.
That's
So
normally
that's
how
kind of,
that goes.
but
Right.
that's kind of, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have your preference, which is
Hmm.
totally fine. That's maybe the most human thing in the world is to have a preference.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it's the way you treat your adversary, you treat the other person
Hmm.
across on the other side of the court. It's about respect and like treating people with respect, even if you don't necessarily agree with them, or it's not you're not a PlayStation guy, you're not a Nintendo guy, you don't game on PC or you don't game on Xbox. Why does it even matter? Like, if you actually like video games, then you should just shut up, go play a video game, and stop like berating people for their choice of platform that they want to play the
Hmm.
game on. So,
I 100% agree. I'm not. That is beautiful. And you know what? We're gonna
yeah.
close it on that. I'm not gonna. Yeah. I'm not gonna
Okay.
ruin that.
We can keep talking. I just really
That
wanted to
is
get that out there.
that is awesome. No, we're definitely gonna close it because I promised you guys I wasn't gonna hog up all your time. And this is, I think that is almost. I can't ask for a better close. Definitely can't ask for a better close. Really quick, I think we're gonna do one more thing. Just like I'm gonna do my closing thoughts, and then anything from you guys is appreciated. So again, I want to appreciate, tell you both that thank you so much for joining me on the first episode
Absolutely.
of the Black Market Podcast. I know Keontae is gonna be, as long as he can stay here, he's gonna be one of my co-hosts. And hopefully, I get more co-hosts. Sure, if you ever want to do it, you just holler at me. I would love to have you on here all the
A
time.
little
Hey,
nudge.
I had fun. I'm sorry if I talked too much, honestly.
Nah,
Oh
man,
no,
bro,
perfect.
you're perfect, exactly. Like, cause if you give me too much
Sound like
time,
you done this before.
man,
This is the second episode of a podcast I've ever been on. So,
see,
There you go.
boom,
Hey,
see.
you doing good.
That means I'm making a difference somewhere for somebody. So I want to thank you
Mhm.
both. This is gonna be hopefully one of a whole bunch, and even if it goes nowhere, I'm just gonna keep doing it just because I enjoy it so much in the
For the love.
conversation. Any thoughts from any two? Want to say anything?
Oh no, it's definitely. I'm excited to see what's looking forward for this purchase of Activision Blizzard. So that's all on that. I can't wait till we get to go ahead and get another one under our belt. I'm ready for that one. Whatever the next topic may be, sound like it's like I said, it's always good vibes.
Shiv.
no, for sure. I enjoyed this. I had a good time. I really do appreciate you thinking of me for your first episode,
Nah, man.
and I would love to come back on for another one. Um, yeah, I mean, I think my closing statement was that very long thing I just said, so
Okay,
I'll just kind of
Okay.
leave it at that. If you want to hear me talk more about games, follow me on Twitter. That's kind of my main platform, and I'm on all the different. I'm on Xbox, PlayStation. I just kind of started my YouTube channel up, putting more content on
Okay.
there. So check me out on YouTube too.
Yes, please, please, please
All
follow
right.
him. His handle will be somewhere on the screen whenever I get finished, dubbing this whole thing down. You make sure you follow him, and of course, like, subscribe, comment, anything like that. Follow me on Twitter. It's of course my handle, BMX Black God, and follow the gaming podcast at BMX Gaming Pod. And that is it. Thank you.